Mikro? Ja. Ah, okay, das Funk. Is this also the place I'm sitting? Anna, will this be the place I'm sitting or? Yeah. Ah, but I mean here, no?
Hello, 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 Kaspi.
Anna.
Thank you for joining this invitation. Really
you.
pleasure to have you here already, performing the test,
Yes.
performing the boardscape, performing. What's the name of this project? Tell us
Listen
about.
to colors.
Listen to colors.
Yes, yes. I'm in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like, I can start
Mm-hmm.
with my.
Yeah, I
website.
like to introduce you for our viewers. Kaspar König is a transdisciplinary artist with a focus on the embedding of the context into the project, concert, or workshop. He has a master degree in sound art and composition from the Conservatory in Mainz and a degree in industrial design from Berlin UdK. He works since 1999 with sustainable design, sound, and performance. He creates real inventions for the eyes, ears, and other senses using recycled techniques and simple systems to make social sculptures and performs acoustic and visual surprises. Also, he organizes workshops and exhibition artists in residencies and installations. He is initiator of the artspace rondeel, ARM.NU, OHP, and non-profit organization Stichting der vier koningen for catalyzing culture. In April of 2018, Kaspar König started to work as an artist for the rectorate of the ZHdK in the sustainability dossier. Since October 2017, he is working as an interim professor, assistant professor of Professor P.Kiefer for Soundart and Composition at the HFM in Mainz, where he teaches the artistic practices of sound art. Since 2012, he has been working as an artistic scientific researcher at the Zürich University of the Arts in the Research Focus of Transdisciplinarity with Professor Florian Dombois, where he builds a Windtunnel for the project Size Matters. Next to that, he works on his oeuvre of art pieces for private collectors and museums. So, thank you, and it's all yours.
Thank you for introducing me. I will just go into. As you like. Yes, please. I like conversations. And I'm just listening, to what to say, because I was wondering what you said there. You claimed all kind of stuff in my CV. Well, actually, I am not very aware of that, because for me it happens and things occur, and maybe moments you can set projects together because of the good people that are around and the energy that flows. And this is, I think, the base of all my biography. I really, I think I like people, and I like to know their differences and their opinions and their views. And I think I really, take a lot out of that. And basically, this is also a cooperation, this website, that shows a little bit of the things I also myself never relate very well to each other, in the sense that I'm a chaos. And I feel like maybe if I put some of the projects onto a map, maybe I have a little bit of a overview, and I have a little bit of a understanding of who I'm myself. So this is kind of a map that is as a mind map, maybe as a mind map. And it works a little bit like the Google Maps, that if you zoom in, the things get bigger and they get more detailed. And there's also the same thing to turn it a bit. I really like it that the programmer knew how to make this also kind of three-dimensional. So I can basically go into some of the projects that I see here. If you want, you were talking about the wind tunnel. So maybe there's a picture of the wind tunnel where I make a CD with the sounds of wind. And as you know, the wind is very unpredictable. In the wind tunnel, at least we try to predict it by putting a volume and a wind stream inside. So basically, what I do here is that I try to figure out the right wind for the microphone to just not make the typical noise of wind. So I go just underneath that point and listen to what I hear and what I can really find there. And the CD is also already telling more things that I really like to do. I'm not sure if the picture's here, but I put also a piano inside, and I take out the keyboard and I take every board so the wind can immediately touch the strings, and I just see what happens. And actually it's a favorite piece when I put a flag before the piano, then the flag plays the piano, and it's like a composition that you would never be able to play yourself or even think of, but the experiment, yes, exactly, the experiment brings you there. And yeah, there's some more pictures of this. I think even this was made. This is interesting because this is a foil microphone. It's basically a very thin piece of aluminium foil, as you know it from the kitchen. And you put a power on it, and you get no. You put actually you get the power out of the ceramic sheet, and you can listen to that. So this is not a very nice sound, but it generates energy, and this is kind of a thing that I really got interested to, how to make a noise as a energy productive medium. So noise harvesting, it's already ongoing, so it's not that I'm the inventor, but I'm really interested of how could you really put vibrations of the air, like we know it in sound, to a energetic field. So this was a small prototype or thought sketch. And whole other work is maybe this one. And this one is a conveyor belt on a industrial site where they make cement. Yeah, that's very huge. Maybe the best thing is to get into the movie, because meanwhile I will be talking. But the idea of this cement mining field is that we make strange deals with the nature. We get out the stones and we make a natural park out of it. And also this is one is very particular because you see the river in front, and the river here sometimes inundates, it floods the whole area. And this is where this piece is also a little bit about. I come from this area, and I also have the experience of the flood. And this mining is basically claimed to help the flooding spread out, because the stones are sold for cement to build new houses, and at the same time you open the river to overflow as much water as you want. And somehow I'm very dualistic in this piece. So what I try to symbolize is with this conveyor belt, with this system, it's like an insect. It's like somebody eating the crops of a field, or it's like as a metaphor for what the people are doing here. They are just destroying the earth and taking out the valid material, and then they leave a dump behind. And they claim it's nature, or it's better for nature, or it's better for the water, or it's better for this. And at the same time, this machinery goes on to the next step. So I make this stick insect to jump and do it again to symbolize this ever going on mining and so on. You can see it here a bit from a other distance. And so I try to also with the sound to make first the machine. You hear the beginning of the conveyor belt and the original part. And now I try to symbolize the animal inside. So these tones are made actually by this instrument that I will introduce later to you. And it brings an animalistic part to this process. And there was a land art festival around it, so there were some pieces No, this was one of the few times I really made a fixed setup because the rest of the conditions was already difficult. The wind, yeah, the wind was taking the arms very far, so I had to be on the side to help maybe the legs to move. But the people could touch them, and they were really amazed by the 17-meter arms. And there's one picture also that it looks really like one of the digging machines, so the animals look the same like the land workers. Maybe this is
like
a nice.
Some dark matter possessing the machines.
Yes, yes. Okay. You see, this is my friend Stefan. Hoppala. This is the microphone. Yeah.
As we mentioned before, is the Scheiß microphone interrupting? Sorry.
Yes. So in the same festival, there was even another piece right here, but I think I go on and move to another project. There's two very different projects here, and there's a recycling project right around the corner. So maybe I just jump into the different objects I used to make. From the fire hose of the Berlin department, I started to recycle. I make bags around the millennium change, and I thought it's already a heroic material, and we have this fireproofness, waterproofness qualities inside, and this material can hold 10 bars of pressure. This is so like amazing industrial product. And after the use at the fire department, it just gets thrown away because, okay, some farmers use it for irrigation system, and of course there's also a lobby for the reuse in other countries. But at least it's also a lot of waste that I found at the fire department, and I thought, yeah, you can really do a lot of beautiful things with it. I even made this this bag. Or this chair. I thought I can trigger it here. No, it seems to be maybe the angle. No. Anyway, this is other bag that might work. It's kind of a diamond bag, I called it. Oh, maybe this one works. Yeah. And so I start to also now on holidays, sometimes I just go to the fire departments. They are big fun. I can recommend it as a touristic attraction. Also, you always make experiences. It's really interesting to go there. A older project that I've not mentioned for a long time, but it has to do with sustainability and design too, is a kind of a patent I registered with a friend, Tanja Krüger, to make a very simple kind of toothbrush that uses way less resources because of the holes that are inside the body, and at the same time make this simple wrench work. So maybe in the movie there is something to see about it. It's an idea to make all the handles that are fixed into flexible things. And I hope we see some examples, because this is not so interesting. And these were my early days of video editing, so I'm also a little bit embarrassed of what there is. But you could imagine this finger type of design that also reaches in the remote angles of your mouth, and you could razor blade, and you could spray and so on. There's a lot of applications. This never really lifted off. We had some 3D prototypes in that days. This was still a very cost-intensive investment, and we won some prizes, and we had some moments where we thought this is going to make a world brand new idea. We didn't never get to that point, so it was a very, very intense time to learn about business and about design into business and patenting and all the things. So And I also know I need to leave my fingers off for a certain time because I won't do it again. But it was interesting because ideas from others are sometimes so great. So why not share your ideas? Under what conditions do you want to share them? And this is really a very important question now, and that's why I try to open source my website now and the other website, the other project also. So it's this idea of contribution that you mentioned other people, but patenting is, I think, over. It's too complex, it's too risky, it's too everything. So I think this is a problem with this type of IP. But I found out a IP of somebody else, Sadolek. He made it, Sasso Sadolek, I think is his name. He made this beggar robot, and he started to make them for the transition from east-west in the times of the fall of the wall. And he said there were the first shopping malls, and beggars were excluded from the shopping malls, so they were set out. And he made from recycled materials a robot with a small animation that tells you what it is, and that there's a CD drawer coming out to get to beg for your money. And I think it's a great idea, and I was really happy that the Luxembourg Museum commissioned me to make a beggar robot. And here's a favorite that I like to share. This is another idea that keeps on playing a role in sometimes performances, but at least in my thinking. It's biofeedback ideas that you have when you go on a bike and you have a rhythm in your wheels, and you have a kind of a meditation. I designed this bike to amplify that meditation. So I will also put a movie even if we have time, but the fundamental idea is that we have just a pickup of a guitar along these strings that react on the size of the frame that is changing during your ride all the time. So there's like this fraction or movement. And on the wheels, which you cannot see, there's also these pickups that pick up the speed and the tension of the spokes. So you have a sonified drive in the end. And this is this is great on the street, but also on performances. Maybe this is a movie about it, I'm not sure. Yeah. And we come straight to the next topic. That is nice. Let's see if we hear something. So, yeah, oh, this was what I didn't want to do. Okay. Sounds a little bit nice. This is another way to use exhibitions for instruments. This is my room is my instrument installation. So I was invited to do an installation with Simon Birds in Krakow, and we had the possibility to be in the gallery and knock the walls and see if there's any void or any type of resonance body, and go through all the objects and make strings on them and make them like part of an instrument. So the physics of the room really change, and the way to play it also. So this is a piece But actually, I wanted to jump from this bike and this last performance you saw into an art space rondeel, which you can see here. And this is a art space I was able to manage with a lot of people in Maastricht, in the south of the Netherlands. And this is really where I amazed myself that the community is so powerful. Yeah, we had a beautiful place. Maybe we can go into some pictures. Okay, this is a chapel inside a industrial loft, but maybe we can see the loft as well. It could be here. No, it's still the same picture. And we had this car workshop where we used the car bridge to have a bar. And this was a bar that went up all night, and to a certain moment where the beer was finished, the bar was totally up. So people knew, okay, it's slowly time to go. But it was also so open and big that we had a lot of performers coming over. Also from Zurich, we had guests, a lot actually. And we tried to finance ourselves by a very funny way. Actually, Nora de Baan might be in this one. Okay, it's not available anymore. We tried to get funding by renting out every square meter of the place, and you see the red squares are the stage, and this is backstage, and this is the first floor. So we tried to make it possible that the mayor of Maastricht proclaimed that this is the best way to make culture, because there was a big financial cut in 2012 in Holland. And so we claimed him to say that only through culture on square meters we could save our future generations, and we really should help our art space. And this was very funny because we had worldwide people renting square meters in this little spot in Maastricht, that they just wanted supporters from all over the world. And I thought this is so amazing that back in 2010 that this really is there, and people are interested in things that happen all the way on the other side of the world, and they just found you, and I was really, this was like also the surprising part. And maybe there's some movies on the this one actually. In the background you see the art space. It was really an industrial loft. There's something else running here, exactly. So one of the ideas born in the art space was the slow biking idea. And slow biking happened in China. That's why I got the music with a Chinese ambition. And I did this in China to actually practice the slowest way of biking. And I always thought of this to be something very essential to biking, and to have also an enjoyment with it. So I organized some musicians, which was not yet in this first edition, but I organized musicians that play the way that the bicyclists go. And this was about in 2006-07 also, and it evolved really into something interesting. That on a wedding of my niece, I met her best friend, and she asked me, hey, it's really nice, slow biking, can I organize it too? And I said, yes, sure, you can do just whatever you like with it. And I gave her some tips, and I tried to be kind of a coach to see what the musical and theatrical and philosophical part about getting slower is all about. And there's a kind of a body of work that I always relate to this film.
ich war heute nicht so gut in Form.
Wie gehen Sie damit um, dass Ihre Konkurrenz Sie mit allen Mitteln versucht, von Ihrem wohlverdienten Sieg abzubringen?
Ja, ich bin mir das gewöhnt und da muss man sich einfach mit innerer Ruhe und Selbstsicherheit dagegen setzen.
Yeah, this is actually a little bit of the essence of the slow biking and the feeling back to yourself. And this friend on the wedding made then this page right now. So this is actually where slow biking went to. She started to organize in Amsterdam and in Holland slow bikings on bicycle fairs, on car-free Sundays, on all places. And now sometimes she even has 6 or 7 slow bikings in a weekend. And this is really amazing. This is like already logistics and everything that's really great to do. Even the Open National Championship, you can see there's a big thing in all the cities of Holland. Look at that. And this is really proud because I was the trigger of this, and I think she made a beautiful non-profit out of it. And this is also, I think, a way to go with ideas, to make non-profits and see that the fascination and the evolvement of the idea itself through a community is really fulfilling. It's making you happy. It's really making sense to your life. So at the moment, I will try to show this one. This has to do with some of the works like those that I showed, and that is kind of a non-profit to make these kind of projects. And here's some more of the art space. Maybe there's you can see this paintings. No, doesn't seem to change. Okay, here's some. Well, and it was a great stage and a place to meet, and it had a great acoustic because it was quite cubic, this art space rondeel. And there's some spin-offs from this time and from people that were here and that were also farming. We opened a garden in the next place where we were moving to, and we started to keep the same garden but in a new place, and people got excited, and we got ways to go. Maybe this is also a beautiful performance with dust, and let me see where to go. Maybe this is to finish up Art Space Rondeel. It's a wheelchair with a string in the seat and some soldering of simple oscillators reacting to light, and it's radio transmission. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I keep on showing some more because I was thinking of introducing to you already the other instrument that you can see here on pictures. Alright. I will try to do this in a little bit similar idea, because I want to explain that I wanted to once think out of that same little excerpt with the light. If light comes to a sensor, you can make already almost music, because you are like in an interaction and you can do different moves. So I was really interested that I could make a small synthesizer with a light diode that changes the pitch. That was like a wow, that was an experience. And then I figured out, well, we are actually wearing all the time cameras and screens and computers. Why not evolve to that level and see if there's a way to program your webcam into a translator to sound. So this was about 5-6 years ago that I really wanted to do that during my master's in sound art and composition. And I got a first small funding, and I could ask Mark in the picture to make a patch that worked already a little bit like this. And then I met Christoph Steli here in Zurich, and he had another idea around sound and maps, and we had discussions, and I said, can we not work together and make something? And I will show you what came out of that, because now this should be still online, if I'm not wrong. This is wrong. Okay, I thought this was working earlier, but maybe I can just put it into another browser. No, it's also not working. This is a pity, but maybe it has to do with my window here. Excuse me. No. It has to do with this window. I will close this one for a moment, and this one too. And I will try to reload this. No, that's technical issues. Okay. So I had it earlier, but now it doesn't want to pop up. I will go to the next version then, which I could work out with Dan and Dan McKinley. And I'm going to restart too, and I think we need a little bit louder sound. Is that possible, that we have a little bit more sound on the computer? Maybe I can restart it also a bit. So what you see here is a website, Listen to Colors, that translates these images, and the live images, you can see these are the coordinates that are actually analyzed. These are the colors and the movements of the colors, and then you can set those to dependencies in the sound, like I can put the octave behavior depending on blue. You see it starts to already make a difference. And there's some instruments here. And I will restart it, sometimes refresh it, because it sticks to the same preferences, but it reloads the sounds, and sometimes it's better. So I will perform a little bit with this right now. it gets a bit stuck after a while. Maybe I overdo it also with all my programs here. Maybe I just close it. And anyway, it's in development, so I'm not surprised that sometimes the sound is gone, because it's just really a fragile system too. That I really love when things start to live and get their own dimension and get their own life. Then I'm really interested. It's like you animate the world around you. Yeah, maybe we can show something nice in between. Which I also like. Then we come straight to the next topic, because I can show now this one, and this is the same as this one, but then I will show you the difference of the sound. Last thing I show, and then you can have maybe the instrument that looks this way, this side, and that way, that side. But I think you realize it's a scape board, because it makes soundscapes, and I'm trying to hook it up for you. Maybe I can make a band like this. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Caio. Thank you, Gaspi. Wow, I totally. Your name makes you justice. Actually,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for performing us and showing us just a glimpse of all your work, which is actually quite a lot, I would say. I mean,
Thank
you
you.
totally have collected any type of experience over the last years that
Mhm.
is unbelievable diverse, and that's what it makes it very rich, actually, very authentic also, that you allow yourself to really experiment beyond the limits of what one should produce, but more, as you mentioned, what actually makes you happy and has sense to you, as you mentioned, quoting you, which of course has sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I took my notes of things that I totally took my attention, and what I'm very triggered is about your process of production. I wonder if you will give us a insight of what is today to be a transdisciplinary artist, um, knowing that probably it means being driven by curiosity and don't let yourself to be limited into one discipline, but to the discipline of curiosity, I guess. But I mean, we had like a wow. I mean, your work goes into fashion design, mapping online, doing robots installations, doing land art, sound art, producing self-funding, doing like social movements like slow biking, song. I mean, the list on, no, and of course the innumerable list of instruments, of sound instruments that you had that are already in itself a huge subject individually, no? Like the last, like this one, that it's a sort of a theremin, but with the sounds of the, I don't know, Hendrix, and at the same time it's mobile, and yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
I call it the Jimi Hendrix for lazy people because it's battery powered and it keeps on going.
So it goes with the concept of slow, you know, like
Yes.
slow, Jimi
So,
Hendrix, slow movement, and slowscape board, and so on.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a experience that I try to propagate in a certain way. We have this strange word which is quality time or time. Actually, I would say good times. Yeah, if you have good times, you want them to last. Somehow you start to hold on to the good moments, right? So you have this moment that you can enlarge or extend the moment because you're not in the need to go, or you're not in the need to do the next thing. So to get the state of mind that then you have a good time, that you're aware of it, and then the second is how to keep it, and enjoy it as long as it lasts or something. Yeah, this is where I really like to emphasize too, also in my work, because basically I really need, like everybody, a certain how can you trigger your curiosity? That's what I want to see with all the people. What does it trigger? No, that you keep on wondering. Yeah, that you keep on. What is and how come? And this is the motivation, I think, that makes me wander around these areas. And yes, I also think it's very difficult to claim certain things as being one thing, so I can put it in a box with a label on it, because everything has to do with everything. So the world is holistic if you want to see it, and if you do this, it has an effect there, and if you do your awareness in this machinery, this is also where you can trigger yourself in a certain sense to stay curious with your curiosity in a good condition. And I hope actually that is what makes me drive in my life and the rest of my life. So I hope I keep on having this energy to do.
Beautiful, beautiful description. And what about the process that you use for working when you take a subject? I mean, you mentioned about this, let's say, holistic sense that everything is correlated in a way or other, actually.
Yeah.
But how do you choose the subject you actually want to develop? Like,
like for now, it's sound kites. This is one of the next projects, and it has been earlier there too. It has also to do with these tryouts. It is a double thing, because before I came to Zurich, I was having an exhibition with the idea that the wind plays the strings of a kite, and then I got involved into the Windtunnel on the transdisciplinarities, the research focus, and I figured out they are connected, and now I can bring them up again in a new context, because now kiting and talking to the spirits and the relationship to a certain tradition really feels like, wow, yeah, I want to make a reinterpretation of this tradition. So I dig into the tradition, I do research. I like research from the wrong end. This is like if you would see the last Google research search solution that are very, very strange references in texts, where I get suddenly, hey, what is this? Where did they get this from? And I like that, to be surprised, no, and then find the motivation to keep on digging, because of course everybody that Googles now the word sustainability gets all this description that is already 100 times seen or spoken, and you don't change your mind to make a assignment for you out of it, or a motto, or a friction that you can use as a lever to work in moments where you don't see any good thing in the world. I mean, this is the other side of the coin, that if you are not able to be curiosity to trigger your curiosity, or when you're in a loop, or when you're feeling the same every day, or when you have really the crisis of what is making sense, what should we do, everything we do is waste in the end, and so you have a lot of change of awareness that that will not enable you to trigger the curiosity, because it's maybe bad news. It's something you wanna not be all the time confronted with, or something. No, it's, I think, also a mechanism there to actually do the opposite. Either try and make a solution for some of these bad news things, even if it's in the closest context, in the just two friends, or any entity where this is a discussion or discussable. Oh yeah, you can make a tryout, like in a slow biking, or in a setup that suddenly lifts off somewhere else on a party, on a really it felt like a complete random moment that it happened, and suddenly she really takes off with this philosophy.
Will you say that it comes from a self-awareness that gradually it becomes the statement of your work, like this consciousness or this political position in which you engage, that the modus apparatus of producing involves doing things correctly in terms not of a sense of good or wrong, but in an ethical sense for your own perception of ethics.
Exactly. Yeah, that is what I try to do. And I think to come to the method, it's difficult to describe one road, but yes, I like to read about this stuff, and I like to experience stuff even more maybe than reading, because then it's in your body, and the body has to do something with it, and it comes back on strange moments because your body remembers stuff. And I really feel that as a motivation also to keep on opening new doors, because maybe behind that door there is that way back to your power machine, and this is maybe my work must be related to me, or must be in order of one of those rules to be able to keep on identifying with, or keep on seeing it as a step on another step, even if it's a step in the wrong way. I still can associate with it.
And can you tell us about what is it to do artistic research for you?
Coming to a prototype, it's not making art. Artistic research is not about the process of making the art, but it is creating the laboratory for it. And why would you have this and that combined? And okay, even if it's random, there is a story behind it, because they came there, and you have links and references anyway. So yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, it's very, very research is this curiosity, I think, because I cannot explain it in another way than finding motivation to dig deeper, and not only finding motivation, but the motivation itself is the subject that you feel identified with. And this is the big difference maybe between artistic research and scientific research, that you need to have a step on a step based on absolutism or a relativation that you can. We will try to make it a bit less flickery. Yeah. And and the research is everywhere, no? Since we have a mobile phone, you can go anywhere, you can read any paper, you can search for any paper. It's like really strange that the library is not the research area anymore for me, in the sense, okay, I've never been so much to libraries, but the classical research is happening between the books, and you find from one to the other. And now it's really, really crazy where it happens, no? Okay, even on a night where you've been partying and you come at home and suddenly you're back researching because you heard something that you need to find out, no?
Yeah, I find like very fascinating your work, that for me it really translates this aspect of artistic research, which is build your own methodologies that are beyond scientific or academic standards.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you totally accomplish that in each of your projects. You make your own methodology of producing in each individual project, that in the constellation of your mapping website that shows your work, we can visually understand all the correlations and links, like a family tree, for example. It's a family tree of your constant process of production. And I think this also the empirical aspect of producing, for me, is also what I see as your work as artistic research, that it involves this performativity that goes beyond the aspect of performing also physically, but also activating surfaces, spaces, virtual spaces, social spaces, and becoming a catalyst of even social movements that at the end the process are absolutely unique in each one, I guess. But at the end, it comes in a common ground, which is what you depict as the holistic sense of what it has sense for you based on your level of happiness. It sounds like like a cursi, I would say, for me, for saying like it, but it totally for me totally is inspiring, you know, because usually one will arguments like more from the political, but I guess the political is also from your own experience, from your body, because your body, it's only you who animate your body, and every direction and how you play it, it becomes political when you actually engage in your decisions of how do you use it. And I guess when performing through your body and producing methodologies of works that involve your body, like your works, you're totally engaging in building all methodologies. No? I mean, it's more like an observation. And will you like to tell us about how do you work with this listen to colors, which is a translation of image, just that the people who is watching us can get a glimpse eventually into the link and understand what was your intention of it, of as you mentioned. I mean,
I can tell you, I mentioned the little synthesizer as being a starting point, but yes, there's a big other idea behind it, because if you see what we see with the camera nowadays and all the recordings we have and our surrounding, I can easily claim that parts are scores for an instrument that you can do by any instrument. You can read a score, like if I see 4 green A4 sheets hanging there, I know this is maybe something with 4 beats or 4 this and that. So we always will be understanding the pattern. We want this. No, this is like biology. And so I thought, well, how can we use that same information we know from the eye and the biology and maybe even synesthesia. That's a little bit where the name comes from one of the prototypes, synesthesia, synthesizer, which kind of claims triggers your relationship between eyes and ears. You're having it all the time around you when you look and listen, but if you see it through a camera and you translate some of the things you see into what you could possibly hear, you get these worlds of sonified surroundings. And I think it was triggered by a very small step, and suddenly it grew to seeing everywhere light scores, because now what we see is the feedback and my hand in before and you are in the screen, and now it takes its own image. But if I go to any other flyer or landscape, which this is not a good example, but if I would show you outside, then suddenly the world takes part in my soundscape. So the other outside scores, and then it's an endless game. No, then you're in anything can be a score. So anything we can scan, and we can scan from left to right, from up and down, and then it's like you to find out does it make sense or does it not, or is it just a joke, or does it give me something? And this is for anything. No, we need to ask these questions all the time. And just enjoy when you feel like, it's crazy, but it works somehow. It does something with me. No, I like that point too. When I see good art, and when I hear beautiful music and see my friends perform, it's all very, very inspiring to me too.
And it's totally inclusive, like it's really make interactive. I mean, it's a work actually used to engage people, right? Like to.
Yeah, well,
is it online?
It's online. It's called listentocolors.net, and you get redirected to the blue version, and you then can go through the settings, and you can go through some sound settings. These were actually visual settings where you can see what's happening with what kind of input. You see it on the right side. I should show it maybe there, or maybe I can show it in the screen. I don't know. No, wrong side. This, and and it's developed by these three guys, Dan and Christoph and me, and we had some help from ZHdK and from the social science department of the Maastricht and the Hochschule für Musik, and the non-profit also coordinated a bit. So I'm now kind of institutionalizing my own interests, and I'm not sure if that's correct, but politically correct. But I think I offer something that is exactly on the demand and on the times and on the focus. And I see it around me, so it is. And some researchers use it, but basically, I think it's not well known, and I did not put anything in propaganda except for my own concerts. And I think it's just a toy first. It's a toy to get in touch with sound art at the moment and make it very easy accessible. Just everybody has already a cam and headphones. You can do it on your phone. You can do like. But you need Chrome, by the way. This is the only thing that is a bit of a difficulty, because we cannot support all the multi-platform versions. And anyway, I hope also that it lifts off one day with a group of programmers in a hackathon or in a meeting or in anything, that it boosts once more, because I think there's a lot for many people to gain, also for the game designers, for the animation makers, for the musicians and the composers, and basically also the electroacousticians, because you can use the MIDI data and start your own program with just the video analysis that is being done. And this is there's a lot of power in there that is still to be released.
Totally. What is fascinating is that you totally use standard technology that it's available for everyone, more or less. I mean, a part of the expertise of the programmers.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, you basically use things that are essentially in the hand of everyone.
Exactly.
And this is fascinating because you make such an authentic setting, interactive with very available resources.
Yeah, and this is a thing that I think the world needs most.
Yes.
We have so many resources that are drained, and we just should be using them better.
Exactly, to use
more.
what we have.
And I do a lot of concerts with it, so I use it in that sense. But anyway, the computer makes a lot possible. So.
And how do you see it in the long run? Like, do you have a perspective of how this is going on in 10 years, for example? Is it transforming? Is it growing? Are you going to maintain it, or you haven't?
Yes, I try to maintain it the best I can. But the updates of Chrome, for instance, make it difficult to keep on a always functioning level. But the good thing was that I had the last meeting with the programmer around September, mid of September, and I was a bit devastated that it was not working, and that we and then suddenly, when he came in, I tried to explain my problem, and the problem was solved. The thing was working, and I was like, wow. You're just entering the room and it's working already. This is a magic thing. And then I actually found out that just 17 days earlier it was a new program released, or an update released, that made it possible again. So he anticipated kind of this update maybe already long time ago, I don't know. But suddenly it worked, and I have a good feeling that next month I can play in Havana with it and show it there. Yeah, this is what I'm about to do. And
well, you have already the Havana look. Yeah. No.
The Havana look, yeah, the Panama look maybe, but yeah. Well, the white shirt, yes. I don't wear so much white, but I know the Beamer would be on tonight. So.
Great. And did you show this as an installation also, like in itself, that it's interactive with the projector or lecture screening?
Yeah. Well, it is also in yeah, in a not yet state of installation, because actually you have to have internet, you have to have this and that and so and so. So you really have to program it to work, to get it work. But yes,
in
it's
performatic aspect that you do it live.
yeah, I think it's working better. But yes, there's other people using it too, so they make installations. So I made one installation where I made a colorful tree turn, and the webcam was there, and you see that the turning of the tree once around had the similar sound again. So you had a feeling of, hey, there's a dramaturgy going on. And this is actually also, yeah, where it's for, that you make either living images, because if it's an installation and it's still, it freezes, and then you feel like it needs interaction, it needs talking to. Yeah, but there is maybe a picture of that. I was wondering, and I see it here.
We probably saw like a 5% of all your work, no? In this time,
Yeah.
so much work you have.
No, it's not here. No. No, I should actually make publicity for.
Yeah, if you like to talk us about your coming up project and what's going on now. You mentioned before you're working in the kites and the
Yeah.
ritual aspect of. I also find very fascinated that when you're producing sounds, you're into the non-control of the sounds, which is the opposite of standard music, which is the absolute control and the master of an instrument. And with your performance approach is totally the opposite. It's like bringing the dispositive and allow it with the circumstance, with the context, with the wind, to become in itself a sound that is non-control, right?
Yeah. Maybe this is working. I'm not sure. Yeah. So this is basically this wind, and the kite is touching a branch on some tree. I think it's very relaxing and very Japanese sound garden style, something. Zen, yeah, it's association with a lot of relax and flow. And this is a project that now gets some triggers, in the sense that I try to make sound in the air, so not only the string, but make these type of whistles work in the air and get new elements to an old principle, like a string, like a bow and a string that is mounted on the kites, or bamboo flutes that are mounted on the kites. Yeah, I think there is something which I cannot even explain, but maybe there's the understanding of wind that slowly makes the conversation go, with those spirits of the wind. Something, out of the, into the magic and into the uncertain. And I mean, I try already this month to bring a kite in the air, and there's hardly any wind. And I think this global warming problem also always thinks of the hurricanes and thinks of the disaster that is feelable or seeable, but it's a big disaster when there's no wind. And this is awareness part here, but there's also
Yeah,
nice to listen to the
you
wind.
had to check out, I already told you, but I like to say it here for all who work in wine subjects, that to join the Zumpango Festival
Yes.
in Guatemala.
Yes.
In where is it? Yeah, Zumpango has this very
Yeah.
big kites
Kite
production.
festival. Yes.
And it's interesting because they wait till the wind it's at its best for that, which is October, November, and it also goes with the festivities of the Day of the Dead in the beginning of November. And it's amazing. It's really poetic also to see this notion of approaching the sky to get near of the ones who have been gone from the
from the society or from the community.
Yeah, from the Zumpango
people.
Yeah.
I would love to. I would really like to know more about the kites.
If someone in what is watching us, that someone from Zumpango, you can invite Kaspar and take him to the Zumpango festival.
Yes, I will try to make that Zumpango kite first. That could sound really nice. And maybe in one of the observations, I can also listen to glacier, because this is also something that is connected to global warming and to the issue, the disappearance of the glaciers. And I think it's extremely important to listen to the situation somehow really very blunt, maybe, as in going there and then try to record it. What do you hear? Not because in 10 years maybe it's nothing to hear anymore, but it is way more to also to suck in that experience and reflect on it. And if you now I'm a glacier activist. I just listened to it and I thought, no, I don't want this to disappear. What can I do? No, it's and then it's of course very hard to do something that is
But this is also, I mean, recording it in itself, it's the record of something that historically, let's say it's an anthropology approach, to record and document. But I guess if it's like in the future, we could even consider as like the catalog of things that have no longer
disappeared.
I mean, hopefully not. Sorry for being so pessimistic. But
But I mean, this is already happening. We have already this catalog, and there's already research in sound from before the recording possibilities. And there's, even
in terms of nature, it's just when it's, catastrophic. But
yes. But we also do Foley sounds in movies, so it's really amazing how we could relate to an image with a complete other sound, that is made by salad or something you would never expect in that movie or in the image. And I think this is something we can do with the synthesis that we are that we have before us, because the sound technology is changing also very rapidly and also very intense. We will make this sound, and we will create glacier sound, and we will think it's even more glacier than what I have here as a proof that it wasn't that sensational or that amazing. But for me still it's a reflective moment, and it's the echo in that area, and it's the animals that are there, and it is the facing a slow disappearance, something like that. And I hope this is stronger. We will have more and more issues in the environment, so I think it's going to be stronger and stronger represented in artist work anyway.
Hopefully.
Well, I think it's kind of unavoidable when the beamer has no power anymore, and all technology kind of stutters because of little power, or even if we cannot go coming anymore because there's no more drinking water that we can share. That would be worse. That would be and I think it will always provoke a reaction to a certain moment. I don't know when is the big wake up or the waking call of the world, but I think yeah, I don't give up there. There is one coming. There's a big wave coming. Something.
Yes, thank you, Casper. It is admirable also your political position towards environmental situation. Actually, that are totally in need to be speaked. And I find also that in your work is not, which for me is really relevant, that is not in a flag of I am a political artist, but in the process you actually deal with very political subjects also. So that's very inspiring.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So I don't know if you'd like to continue showing more, because I'm like fascinated, but I also like to open if someone has a question. They'd like to join with a question. Very welcome.
Somebody
now.
on Facebook.
Come
Is there
on.
anybody? Hello, anybody on
in
Facebook?
the YouTube live.
Do you wanna
react? It's hard to make questions actually, especially when you show such a big a spectrum of works. But I like to ask you in a more personal aspect. What would you recommend to like young artists, for example, that are starting your career, or that they develop some sensibility to approach political subjects without becoming this political flag we mentioned? That is not like I'm a, dealing with, but that in their process they are conscious. You know, like in the process you are aware of everything which involves consuming and producing. No,
sure.
So what will you like suggest to people who is actually willing to still not engage, but have like the are in between, like, oh yeah, I know that's actually responsible, but actually my work is about me, for example, or it's about this or that, but there is a big bridge, and I mean, of course you are teaching, so you probably know quite well how far is that to take that into not as a subject, but as a ethic aspect of including it.
Well, I think I take an example. I think of the water again. We are a lot of water in our body, and we have actually, through this simple chemistry, already a lot in common. Yeah, in the sense that physically the material is similar. It's maybe charged different than we have all the other DNA and but really back to the basic, there is something that we all need and feel and consist. And so that is what I kind of thought as being my religion. If I stick to the idea that there's always somewhere a fluid possibility, then search for that. Then try and find that mutuality, or find a way to energize it to each other, something like that. So when I would say what I would recommend to young artists and people searching for that, it's maybe already within you, and it's the same thing, how to reuse or make better use of resources, make better use of yourself. It's a bit of a
that's a good one.
But this also claims already maybe a lot of how do you say?
But it applies to your limited resource of life. I mean, because we have a mortal condition that that doesn't last forever, actually, and every minute it's one less. So it applies totally.
Yeah. But I think in the sense of making better use of yourself, like that curiosity may go inside. It's not an egoistic thing. It's a way to get to know yourself better and use yourself better in a certain sense. So this is also where maybe unrelated or artworks that are not about the global warming or whatever can have their justice as much as anything, because of the search that is behind it, or the message or the metaphor. And there is where I would recommend, make sense of what you are capable to to feel in your body and love.
Reconnect, no,
yeah,
to
what-
yourself and to the
and
source.
yeah, and love yourself and love the others, and this is a fluidity too. This is also like the water. This is all like it's all the time there. If you want, you can tap in all the time. Yeah. Sometimes I think people on a trip have had that experience that they could tap into this earth flow or and then they couldn't get out anymore if they stick to that. No, it's like, but basically it's awareness of how you can tap into that and know when to stop too, because you're mortal, as you said.
Wow, thank you so much, Caspin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Merci. Thank you.
Gracias, Caspin. And thank you also for performing.
Users of that computers that are behind
Thank
the
you
camera.
very much, Kai, also. And thank you for those who coming. Gracias.
Yes,
And
thank you.
Yeah, and today we have free drinks because we don't have nowhere in the bar, so it's free drinks. Ha ha ha.
Yoo-hoo! Free drink for everybody. That is a beautiful world.
Gracias, gracias.
Thank you.
Ay, qué lindo, Caspi. Gracias.
Gracias a ti. Super.